Hey guys! I haven't posted a video in a while. I've been really busy and I've been out sick. I had to have some minor surgery right after Christmas and feeling back up to doing stuff now. So thanks to everybody who's added me on YouTube. That's really great. I'm so sorry that I don't get back to a lot of the questions. Again, for some reason YouTube doesn't always let me respond to comments, and I don't know if it's some kind of error or if it's on my end or their end or whatever, but if you really need to get a hold of me with a burning question, you can always message me, and I will try to get back to you if I can. So first off, I'm really excited because I finally got the Machina Boys fixed up and they are out for casting right now, and you can pre-order them on the page. And these are the Machina Boys. Let's see if I can turn the camera. They are my robot boys. They have a female counterpart, but she's out of production, and I'm not sure when I'm going to reproduce her or if I will. So those might be something you'll have to find on the second-hand market. He comes with his little helmet, and he doesn't come painted. This is actually a custom paint job I did. He comes in gray skin and white skin, and he's double jointed. He can do all sorts of fancy things. He'll come with glass eyes and his helmet, as most of my dolls do. There's a second head. This one is Gamma, and this head is Epsilon, and he's white, so he might not show up very well. This is the white skin. It is pure white. It is paper white. So, and his head cap does fit flush. I've just got it on backwards because it's easier to get him off, because their head is so smooth and perfect. You wouldn't even have to put on a wig. He could be a nice little bald guy if you want. Anyway, I'm excited about that. I'll put a link to his order page. And if I sound muffled, it's because I've got a mask on, because I've been sanding and stuff. So, hopefully that didn't make anyone motion sick. Today I just thought I'd talk about some tools. The Mini Machina, if you are on my Twitter or on my Tumblr or on my Deviant account, you've seen the pictures of her in progress. Here's her head. And these are various parts of her body. And I thought I'd just go over a few of the different tools that I've been using to clean up my resin masters. I've gotten a lot of questions about who to go to for pro casting. There's several different companies. You can ask Dalshi provides casting. You can talk to them about it. Weiju is the company I go through, and I was set up through Grace at jpopdolls.net. I think it's the .net address. But look up jpopdolls and you will find her page. She sells wigs, and she is really awesome and nice. And so is Weiju. They are very awesome. I wouldn't recommend casting if money is an issue. It's very, very, very expensive. So if you're just not sure that you want to cast it yourself, or you're nervous about it, or worried about the expense, you're just going to have to learn how to cast yourself, because it's much more expensive to have someone else do it for you. Anyway, it's not really that hard to cast. It just takes you being willing to screw up, because you will screw up a lot. And it's okay. That's how you learn. I have screwed up so many times, and it's frustrating and it's disheartening, but you know what? It doesn't matter in the end. In the end, all that matters is you getting your product and having a good time. So, without further ado, these are some of the different things that I use. First up is something I discovered recently. This is Games Workshop Liquid Green Stuff. My first epoxy putty that I ever used was Games Workshop Citadel's Green Stuff, which is blue and yellow, and we mix it together. It's a little more rubbery than epoxy sculpt, so if you're modifying, say, action figures, it's awesome. For dolls, it's okay, it works, but it has a little more give than I like. But this, the liquid stuff, is super easy to use. Where did I put my brush? I keep losing things. Everything's a mess. This is how I work. And you can be disgusted or tell me that I'm incredibly messy and how dare I, but you know what? It's my system and it works for me. Everybody's different. So anyway, the insides of here, and I use toothbrushes a lot. You can see the inside of this leg, there's a lot of roughness in there, and to some degree the underside of joints, a little bit of roughness is okay because it helps the ball to adhere a little better. So you get your part sticking and holding its place. But you don't want it really rough either, because that just doesn't look very good either. So what you can do is you can take this green stuff, and it's all liquidy, and I just put a little bit on a disposable brush. Actually, I'll wash this, I won't dispose of it, but you can paint it on in here and fill in all those gaps. I use it a bit like I use it a bit like spackle. Sorry, I have problems when I'm talking. Sometimes I get everything backwards. Runs in the family. I use it a bit like spackle or like Bondo type filler, or kind of like primer, how primer will... And see, it's already starting to dry. It gets real clumpy real fast. So it's not something that you're going to be able to do a lot of really fine work with when you're sculpting with it. It's just kind of, like I said, it's like spackle. And you can go inside little joints. And fill. And I'll probably be filling all day, so enough of that. Now wash this off your brush before it dries and hardens completely. Take care of your tools and they will take care of you. To some degree, people are like, oh, don't blame the tools, but you know, if you're using really cheap stuff for fine projects, it is probably going to be your tools. If you're using really cheap brushes to paint face-ups, you're going to have little bits of brush and little bits of bristles coming off everywhere, and that's really frustrating. So cheap tools go with cheap applications. More expensive tools, better tools. And you know, if you find a cheap brush that you like, if it works for you, that's fine. But anyway, so now my brush is clean. El Cheapo brush. Okay, the next thing is something that my friend Lynn Raftis, who is a face-up artist and really awesome, turned me on to, and that is these, which are carbide scrapers. She likes these better than the Volks ceramic knives and stuff. I think it's the Canacera knives, is how it said. Anyway, I agree with her. These are pretty awesome. I got the full set, and they're all different shapes. You put them in the little holder, and you can take your part, stick it in there, and just scrape. They're not for cutting, they're for scraping. And she used to use these on model horses, and they work really, really well for cleaning up shim lines and the inside of all this crap. If I can find here. Those are pretty well taken off. There we go. There's kind of a line there. Obviously don't do this if you have sensitive ears. But it takes it off with a minimal effort. It's really hard to cut yourself with these. If you've been following me out long enough, you know last Christmas I went to the emergency room because I cut myself really badly on my finger, and I still have a nice little scar from that. So she is at the stage where I am just fixing and noodling and making sure everything looks good before she goes for a final cast. And this will become my original, and I'll be sending her off to China to get cast. I've built in a little catch there because she kept snapping in real weird ways, and I didn't like that. I also discovered that when you're trying to even out the legs, if you've already got the body cut up, which you probably do, it's really hard when you're trying to balance those legs. The doll will snap and do this as you're trying to figure out where you want catches, how long the legs should be. And what I did was there's a picture of it somewhere on my DeviantArt, I put little dabs of hot glue here, here, and here, and it helped the body to stay in one position while I measured the legs and made sure the legs were all even and in the right place. So that was really helpful. I am nowhere without my hot glue gun. Other people have duct tape. I fix everything with hot glue. I grew up with my dad having an industrial strength hot glue gun and hot gluing everything. He got me one of those really big fancy dollhouse kits because I love dollhouses and I love miniature furniture. And he hot glued it all together. And so there's big hot glue drips everywhere. I guess I could paint it red and pretend the house is bleeding, but you know, that's not really something you want to put around small children. Anyway, let's see, what other tools? This is my block sander. Can't live without that, especially when doing robots. And then, actually I have two of them because I lost one for a time. And this is synthetic steel wool and extra fine. And it sounds weird, but the thing about it is, here's one of her parts. See, it's kind of a dull, it's got a dull shine to it. I may have put this on another film and I can't remember. But it'll get this super, super shiny. It'll get it glass shiny, which helps you really see those imperfections. Now she has a shiny ass. People can bite her shiny middle ass. Ta-da! But I discovered that recently. Really like that. Let's see. Oh, and I started making ball joints. I don't think I ever posted that. These are 3D printed ball joints. I'm a 3D modeler in real life, so I made some 3D models, sent them to Shapeways, had them printed. Voila! Instant sphere, without having to hunt down wooden spheres and try to mess with them. These are actually super, super thin. Here's some of the larger ones. It's kind of confusing printing from Shapeways. I'm not very good at it. Oops. And I'll get that later. What I did was I took the pieces I ordered and filled in the bottoms, made a mold, then cast the pieces. So now I have as many ball joints in that size as I want. You can buy them on Shapeways from my store, or Pulkifee also makes them, and she makes a way more variety of sizes than I do, because I'm just making them for my own use. She was making them for other people to use, which is awesome and really nice of her. Neither of us make any money off of it. The cost is just the bare cost of printing from Shapeways. So if you're looking for spheres for the joints and you can't find the size you need, you can probably find them in mine or Pulkifee's Shapeways site. So let's see, I think that about covers all the new tools that I use. Everything else is pretty standard. I think I've showed my burnisher before, and I have some dental tools somewhere that I use. I like to go to the flea markets out here in California because you get a lot of really weird stuff that you find, and one guy just had all kinds of sculpting tools down in Long Beach. So if you're ever in the Long Beach area on Saturdays when there is a flea market at, I think it's an old stadium, you can go over there and you can find that guy. He's under a big green tent and he has freaking everything. He has everything for metalsmithing, painting, ceramics, all kinds of tools. He sells them really cheap. He's a really nice guy. Check it out. Oh, and this is what I use for painting the lines on the Machina. And you dip this in ink. I actually use Games Workshop's ink washes because they're already kind of watered down, and you just dip it in the ink and drag it through the lines. It takes a long time. You have to do 2 or 3 coats of it, but it will give you really, really, really nice lines on the Machina.